Hi 4K friends, this is Mrs. Burns, your art teacher, and for this week's lesson we are going to be talking about an author and illustrator named Jan Brett. She is an author, which means she's written many books, and she's the illustrator, which means that she drew and painted all of the pictures for her books. She's very talented. She's one of my favorites, and I was really excited to hear that Mrs. Koski was going to be reading you some of her books this month. This book is one of my favorites, called The Snowy Nap, and for this week's art lesson I wanted us to draw and talk about how we're going to draw and add some detail to one of the main characters in this book. Does anybody know what type of animal this is? It's a hedgehog. Very cute, sweet little animals. So I'm going to set this aside and show you the hedgehog drawing that you'll get. So I went ahead and drew this for you. Now there's some things that are missing, so let's do a little compare and contrast. There's this picture. And then there's this picture. Let me zoom out a little bit. What's the difference between these two hedgehogs? That's right, look at all of these lines. Look at all of the little pokey parts of the hedgehogs. What do we call them? The quills that poke out of the hedgehog that make them look so interesting. So what we're going to do is we're going to draw these lines and fill in this space to make our hedgehog look more like a hedgehog. So you are going to need your hedgehog worksheet. We're going to need a pencil. And then I would like each one of you to choose one of your favorite colors, a color that you would like to use to color in your hedgehog. I'm just going to have you pick one color. I'm going to choose green. It doesn't have to be realistic. We don't have to make our hedgehog look exactly like Jan Brett's hedgehog. She used different shades of brown and gray and black. I want you to pick your favorite color, whatever color you'd like to use for your hedgehog. So I'm going to use green. So first you're going to take your pencil and we are going to add some lines to our hedgehog. Now if I'm looking at this picture right here very carefully, you can look, and I'm going to zoom in a little bit more. You can look very closely at how she used straight lines, almost like really teeny tight triangles to represent the quill of the hedgehog. So especially over here you can see them really look like little triangles, really skinny triangles. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to fill up this whole space with skinny triangles. But before we begin, let's talk about this line right here. I'm going to trace it with my finger. Maybe you can go ahead and trace it with your finger too. What kind of line is that? It's really pointy, going back and forth. There's a certain name I like to call this line. We call it a Z. Starts with the letter Z. A zigzag line. Yeah, good work. So these quills right here kind of look like a bunch of teeny tiny parts of zigzag lines. So I want you to think about that, but also follow along with me and try what I'm doing. So what we're going to do is we're going to start at right here, the back of our hedgehog, and I want you to make little shapes like this, like I said, little tight triangles. And we're going to follow along with the back of our hedgehog and making sure that our quills all point in the same direction. It's kind of like making a continuing zigzag line, but they're breaking up. You can see little bits of those triangles in there. I'm just going to start with your pencil. Nice. Now we're going to go back to the same spot where we started and add another row. And make them close together. We want to fill this hedgehog up with lots and lots of quills, like the drawing I showed you earlier. All right, keep going, friends. We're going to do the same thing. Go back to where we started. I'm going to just keep going. Go back to where you started. In the next row down. All right, it's starting to look more like a hedgehog. In the next row. It's okay if your quills overlap a little bit. Keep going. We're going to go until we fill in all of that white space. Trying to keep our shapes closer together. All right. Yeah, that looks a little bit more like a hedgehog. Cool. Okay, so here we go now. You're going to take your favorite color that you'd like to make your hedgehog, and let's start by coloring in the belly and the face of our hedgehog. Now I want you, and the feet, I want you to really take your time and follow along with me, staying along the edge as best you can. I'm going to start with my feet. I'm going to start with the back over here. And I'm going to go along the edge first, the bottom of my hedgehog, really carefully. And you know, when I'm coloring, and I'll see if I can zoom in a little bit more, I make these little circles. I want you to try that too. Little circles. That helps me control and stay in the lines as best I can. Also, let's stop for a second. Notice how this hand is holding that paper, so it's not moving. And then I'm holding my crayon correctly. Okay, let's start with the bottom and color that nose in green too. Maybe I'll push down a little bit harder so that that nose is a really dark green. I'm going to go around the edges first. And go ahead and do my ear. Just stick with the belly of my hedgehog. And go back by the leg. All right. Then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do a back and forth motion to finish coloring in the inside. And again, I'm trying my best to control staying in those lines. Go around my eye. Alright. After you color in the face and the belly and the feet of your hedgehog, I want you to take your crayon and I want you to go over some of your lines. You don't have to go over all of them. We're not going to color in this whole thing, But let's start with practicing going over our zigzag line all around the edge. So they're really teeny tiny, so this is going to take you some time, but you're going to outline over your zigzag line. So pointy, back and forth. Kind of feel that out, practicing lines. If you have to move your hedgehog around, makes it a little bit easier. Okay, yeah, looking pretty cool. And now I want you just to go over and add some new shapes, or new, not shapes, but new quills with your green. And you don't have to do as many. You can overlap over some of your pencil. We're just going to add some more. Kind of do it in the same way as we did the first time, those little rows. Feels a little different with our crayon versus using our pencil to do this. It's a little slipperier, a little more of a challenge to control, but that's okay. Anytime you use something different, it feels a little different with pencils and crayons and paint and markers. All right, I love my green hedgehog. Okay, I hope you loved yours too. Nice job, 4K friends, and don't forget, I think after you do this, I have a video for you, and it's a little short video, and it actually shows Miss Jan Brett, the author and illustrator of all these wonderful books, and she goes ahead and she draws and paints her hedgehog for you. She shows you how she paints her hedgehogs. So check that out. It's pretty awesome. Enjoy. All right. Good job, friends.